that other player that brings him. If that's the rumor, I never believed in that. I never believed in that. I think they just looked at Kyrie's talent and said, "We want them both," as they should have wanted them both. But again, you're not signing, computer equipment that will do a specific thing, and that if it doesn't, you can take it back to the store. You're signing a human being, and these players, for the team that was supposed to care about this human stuff the most, there's major failures going on, and I see it in our game. I'm not mad about the Golden State Warriors loss. I'm mad about the Bulls loss. I'm mad about some of the Bucks loss. I'm mad at the fact that we don't have competent players that can run and jump. And if you can't put those are basic basketball things. There's 100 players like that. There's a bunch of them on Detroit's team that they can't even use. Once you have those two great superstars, Sam, you can't fail in this way. And I'm sorry, I'm ready to start talking greasy about Sean Marks because I hate this our bench team. How could you ignore our bench and how bad it is, Sam? I don't get that.
Well, because I think that I think a lot of what this team is built around is built around something that isn't there. Like, I think that if you're able to stagger superstars and you put around them guys who can shoot, I think that you basically become an offensive juggernaut that we basically saw for all of last year, and that was without all three of them playing. And I mean, look,
but you're forgetting what we had last year. We had two people that could run and jump in Jeff Green and Nick Claxton. And now we're talking about nasal injuries with Nick Claxton.
Okay, well, I mean, the Jeff Green. So Jeff Green was awesome last year, and in the Bucks series, he obviously before he got hurt was really good. I mean, this year he's been a disaster. But I agree that missing his presence, that type of four, I agree is something that they definitely. No, I mean, look, I agree.
But Sam, you have to remember what he did, what he would do, right? He would come down the court. If we were on a fast break, that was who would finish our fast breaks, I would say 80% of the time. Like, he was at the end of the fast break dunking, and we were all shocked that an old player like that would dunk. Am I wrong? Am I mischaracterizing what it was?
No, I think you're wrong, but I also think that, like, I do think his importance is being a little overvalued in the sense that, like, I mean, Bembry or Bruce Brown could do a lot of the stuff on the fast break that Jeff.
No, they can't. No, they can't. I've seen too many blown fast breaks this year to know they can't. Right? Because Bembry is what, 6'5"? He looks longer than what he is, but he's like 6'5". Like I said, homeboy looks like one of the Nets tumblers. He's one of the Nets city dancers. He does not have the physique of an NBA power forward. I keep thinking the man is gonna mop up the sweat in the key like all the time. Like, I don't know what he's doing in that role. He's not big enough. I believe in gravity, Sam. Like this doesn't make any sense.
You agree with me that guys who are 6'9" that can run the floor, like those types of players, do not grow on trees, and they're actually a pretty big asset as it pertains to the NBA, which is why, I mean, like everyone is looking and why everyone keeps drafting these 3-and-D type guys and just hoping that they'll get something. It's why Michael Bridges, who like has had a decent NBA career but nothing insane, just got an $100-something million deal because
but he looks like a beast. I'm not saying we should have Mikal Bridges. Like, I'm not saying that level of player. I'm saying Derek White.
He's also undersized. He's like 6'5", 6'6", and he's more of a ball handler anyway.
But he's got long wingspan.
I just think if you look at a lot of the guys that were look. I mean,
I think Sekou Doumbia could have played better minutes for us this year than
he just got cut again.
I know. I saw that he got cut by the Lakers, but they have Horton. They have guys who do what Doumbia does. We don't have those guys. We don't have guys who could run and jump.
Well, look, the good news is that who do you call it really made his presence felt. It seemed like in garbage time, Kessler, which I think is huge. And like, I mean, I've been on record on this podcast saying I think at the end of this year he'll be the rookie that we're talking about the most, and I still believe that
I hope so.
because he's basically he's basically everything you're talking about. I mean,
I watched him I watched a Long Island Nets game, and he was as advertised on defense. He's got an NBA build, a better build than the other two, and he's got length. Like the Nets need a guy like him, but I just don't think he's ready because he doesn't do anything else well. He's not a dependable shooter. He's not, like, even his defense is not 100% dependable. He's a hell of a project though.
This is where I think you're right though. And I was happy at the time about both of these signings. Not overjoyed. I was just like, I was fine with them, like happy with them. I would give them like a B plus or whatever. The roster spots right now of Millsap and James Johnson are two guys where if you told me in this moment right now on whatever day it is, November, whatever, if you told me that on this day that they would cut both of them and basically take flyers on two guys in the G League that are like 6'8" and haven't really accomplished that much but can run the floor type of thing, like basically like the Alizé Johnsons of the world, like that I could be convinced of, because it's like, let's just see if we strike lightning in a bottle with one of these guys and they become someone.
Yo, Alizé Johnson is playing good minutes for the Bulls too, by the way. Just saying.
Yep. No, I mean, look, I was never a huge fan, but he is playing well in Chicago. But so on those for those two like roster spots, I really do agree. I just think that, you know, I mean,
but you're mentioning those two guys, but what about I mean, like, did you, was Javon Carter the second guy after Millsap? No, you were saying James Johnson and
Johnson. But
can I tell you something? Javon Carter is worse than those two guys. How about that? That's how bad the situation is. That's three guys that need tick, and he's worse.
I think he's basically, if you watched, like, he in a time period yesterday played really, really well on Curry, and then when someone else went on to guard him, he did someone did terribly. I don't remember who it was that was switched on to him after. It might have been Bruce Brown. Like, he's I mean, look, Javon Carter is like a third or fourth guard on a contending team. That's what he is. And right now he's being asked to do something that he's not, which is why I think everyone's losing their shit over him, because
who's a better player, him or Tyler Johnson?
Well, this is what I was actually about to make the comparison. So this is something that I think you can agree on through watching a lot of basketball. There are certain players, right, that do well in positions where they're asked to do more offensively or do more defensively. And so Javon Carter is the type of guy. Javon Carter does not have the Mike James microchip of, I guarantee you I could drop 30 in this game if I wanted to. Like, that's not the way that's not how he was brought up, like playing at West Virginia for Bob Huggins, like in a more defensive-minded, gritty, like, role. And right now, he's being asked to kind of be in a role where he needs to actually be more offensively focused because the team is so want of any type of guard offensive creation, and that's not his MO. And the truth is that if Kyrie was there and Patty's there and Joe Harris is there, that is what he would have been, the fourth guard on this team. But right now, yesterday, with like Harris out and Kyrie out, he ends up being the second guard. And so the point to compare with Tyler Johnson or like a Mike James type is, on this roster right now, they could probably use somebody who's more offensively minded and focused, because the truth is, as we said earlier in this podcast, based off the numbers, their defense isn't the issue like we thought it was going to be. Their issue right now is their offense.
The defense is bad too. I don't care what those stats say. Like, even though I'm the stat guy and I will shut up most of the time when the stats disprove my theory, I still think they're a bad defense. They're just a bad defense for certain types of things. Like Kyrie didn't put on a shooting display. He hit some big shots, but he killed us going to the basket. He killed us finishing at the rim. If you go to the rim on the Nets, we fucking suck defending the rim. And then the other place that they killed us, second chance points. Like they just out athleted us. That it wasn't outskilled us. And I just watched Kevin Durant putting it all on his shoulders, and all I felt was sad. And all I knew what Stephen A. Smith was gonna say before he said it.
Yep.
I knew what was gonna be said. When I turned off the TV, and my wife said to me, "You're gonna be in a bad mood tomorrow?" I was like, "Nope. I'm gonna be cheery tomorrow. I'm gonna be a great dad. I'm gonna be a great husband." And wait till you go to work before I start yelling at Sam. I'm just really disappointed. Because it's like, I don't know how many years of Sean Marks. How long has Sean Marks been here, Sam?
Wow, now 6 years. I don't even know where we're up to now.
It's like I have to say the same bullshit every single year, and I feel like I'm trapped in a stupid point that shouldn't make sense. But again, we came into a season where trained basketball professionals, people who've played ball their entire lives, knows this game, been interns for different, like that's the thing I respect the most about Sean Marks. He's not just a basketball player that got a job because his coach liked him. He's done every job. He interned, end of the bench, scouting, cut tape, all that. He did all of those things. And I just can't see for the life of me how those smart men sat around a table and said, Blake Griffin, as our starting five, is going to be successful. I've never, I watched that game yesterday, and I felt ashamed every time the fans cheered when he got a charge. It is shocking, Samuel, that our starting center's best attribute is hoping he gets a charge call. He can't dunk anymore. He doesn't finish layups. He's shooting horrible from three. Our starting center, the best thing he could do is get a and we lose it as fans when he gets a foul charge. I'm disgusted, Sam. I don't I think you put it too much on Kyrie. You put it too much on Harden. Even though I do agree with some of your points, but I think it's way more of a crime that Blake Griffin is our starting center. I just do. You tell me, what do you find redeeming about Blake? Why what makes that okay?
No, I mean, I'm not I think I'm just trying to live more in the world of the NBA is a salary cap league, and I just don't know what it's kind of like all the hysteria that went on in the offseason about every single signing happened. The Nets don't have money to sign people because they have a three-headed monster. If they had a two-headed monster instead, then maybe they would be able to. Look, me and you, let's put all out on the record. Me and you before, I guess it was around when Kyrie had abandoned the team, but me and you did not love the Harden trade, in part because we basically felt like if you have those two guys and you have all your picks and you have all this young talent, you can put enough pieces around them to basically make them unbeatable. You could trade LeVert or keep LeVert as another ball handler. You could keep Dinwiddie or trade Dinwiddie. You have the Fro on defense. You still have Joe Harris for shooting, and then they had every single one of their picks and every pick swap, and you could have made deals to get any of the guys that we've been talking about, whether it's Chris Boucher, even guys that are way better, because as we saw, the Nets were able to get Harden with all of those picks and giving up LeVert or whatever. So we basically thought there were 5 or 6 moves that Marks could have done because he had this war chest of assets. You do the Harden trade, and when you do the Harden trade, what you're basically saying is, this is us. This is what we're doing. Everything else that we have on this roster should be there to supplement those guys. And the way to supplement the KDs and the Kyries and the Hardens of the world is to do two things. It's to get shooting